The next day, Mohammed took a group of his students to Jorba. There they found 42 women who needed a total of 856 taka, the equivalent of about $27, to pay off their debts. Mohammed then visited one of the largest banks in Bangladesh to ask for a loan with a fair interest rate for the women. The bank manager laughed at his request. $27 was too small an amount for the bank to lend. And because the women were poor and didn't know how to read and write, they were considered banking untouchables. The bank did not trust them to pay back the loan. The women had the same rights as everyone else, Mohammed believed. The bank refused to help them. How could the women ever find a way to better their lives? After being turned down by several banks, Mohammed decided to start a new bank that would lend money to the poor. In 1977, he launched Grameen Bank, which means village bank in the Bangla language of Bangladesh. At Grameen Bank, borrowers could take out loans of very small amounts of money with low interest rates. These small loans would be known as microcredit. Borrowers would be divided into groups of 5, and each group would borrow an agreed-upon amount. Then the group members would work together to pay back their loan on time. Mohammed believed that placing borrowers in groups would create a support system by which an entire group would be responsible for the success of each member. So let's stop and think here. What do we know about the problem that Mohammed had at the bank in Jorba, and what's his solution? At first, it was difficult for Mohammed and his students to get women to sign up for the bank's loan program. The women didn't understand how Mohammed's way of loaning money would be different than from dealing with the other lenders. Sometimes Mohammed and his students were also hindered by the rules of purdah, a practice that does not allow women to be seen interacting with men who are not their husbands. Often Mohammed could not approach a woman in public or in her home because it would be disrespectful. So he waited in the distance or outside a house while one of his female students talked to the women. On some days, Mohammed waited patiently for hours in the pouring rain. The patience and persistence of Mohammed and his students eventually paid off. They won the trust of the women, and many of them signed up for Grameen Bank's loan program. At the bank, the women learned to manage their finances. Each group took a 7-day training course to learn how banking worked. Mohammed also created a set of important lessons, the 16 decisions that the women had to memorize and follow. The lessons taught the women how to change their lives for the better by providing practical advice about positive habits such as drinking safely boiled water and making sure their children went to school. To be approved for a loan, each group had to pass a test showing that the women understood the loan program. The women studied very hard, and eventually everyone passed the test. Mohammed smiled as Safria clutched her group's loan money of $27 as if it were a precious jewel. So let's stop and think here. Why were some of the women reluctant to sign up for the loan program? And how did Mohammed and his students, finally convince them? Safria used her share of the loan to buy ingredients to cook sweets and materials to decorate bangles that she could sell alongside her bamboo stools in the market. She earned even more money than before, which was enough to pay back her portion of the loan and still provide for her family. She beamed with pride when she bought rice for her children with her hard-earned money. Mohammed remembered the poor people who had stopped by his parents' house when he was a child. He remembered the homeless people in the slums he had seen when he was a Boy Scout and the starving people of Jorba he saw each day on his way to Chittagong University. And he remembered the day he met Safria Begum. Mohammed was grateful that he had found a way to help the poor create better lives for themselves. Mohammed soon became known as the banker to the poor. Over the years, Grameen banks loaned more than $10 billion in microcredit to almost 12 million people worldwide. 94% of the borrowers were women. In 2006, Muhammad Yunus and the Grameen Bank were jointly awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. This prestigious award is given to an individual or a group who has shown great courage in promoting peace in countries torn apart by political strife, poverty, and war. The Nobel Prize Committee praised Muhammad and his bank for their efforts to create economic and social development from below, and for showing that even the poorest of the poor can work to bring about their own development. In his Nobel Peace Prize acceptance speech, Muhammad declared, "This year's prize gives highest honor and dignity to the hundreds of millions of women all around the world who struggle every day to make a living and bring hope for a better life for their children. This is a historic moment for them." From helping one woman pay back her loan of 22 cents to providing billions of dollars in microcredit around the world, Muhammad Yunus has never stopped fighting for the poor. He still dreams of making the world a better place, a place where no woman, man, or child goes hungry. He still dreams of a world without poverty. And here's what he looks like.